to my channel. Today I'm filming another 20 baby girl names that I love but will not be using. If you've already seen my other video, I already uploaded the first 20 baby girls names that I love. If you don't follow this channel, I just recently had a baby girl and it took a really long time for my husband and I to agree on a name. I had 41 names, so it seems, that I loved, and there was only really 5 that he liked of those, and we went with Alethea, which is a Greek derived name, Alethea, with a th rather than Alicia, Alethea, which means truth. So that's the name we went for. We already have a 3-year-old called Elena, and her name means bright star or shining light. So in getting down to that one name, Alethea, we went through a process of elimination of many names, and so many of these that I really would have loved to call my daughter. I'm so glad on the name we chose in the end, but all of these names are beautiful, and if someone else called their daughter this, I would absolutely think it was a beautiful name. So if you haven't already seen the first 20 names, I will link that video about here, and let's crack on with the next 20. So number 21 was Rowan, spelled R-O-W-A-N, and I think I heard this as like a rowan tree, like a nature inspired names video. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I did really like this name. My husband just thought it was a bit odd. I think it's beautiful, but we didn't go with that one because it wasn't his cup of tea. The next one was Amelie, and I really love this name. It's a French derived name. There's a film with this name, and I think that's probably what put my husband off. I'm not sure why, to be honest, but because it's a film he thought that it might be quite a common name, but it actually is still not that common. But Amelie is a beautiful name, and definitely one that I would have happily chosen for a daughter if he had liked it. Number 23 is Verona, and Verona, I still really like that name. My husband wasn't sure about names starting with a V. He felt they were quite harsh sounding. I actually think Verona is a beautiful name, obviously named after the place, which is the Romeo and Juliet scene, Fair Verona, where we lay our scene. But yeah, my husband didn't like this one, but I think it's a beautiful name. The next name is Peyton, and the only time I've ever really heard this name is in that TV show, what is it called? Dawson's Creek. Yeah, Dawson's Creek, Payton. I really like that name. I think it was unusual, quite a strong name. My daughter has a friend called Pagan, which is kind of similar, but Payton is quite different. But yeah, again, my husband, it was a bit too odd for him. He actually thought it sounded like a boy's name, but I think it's really nice for a baby girl. So the next name on my list was Amber, and you might notice I do like names beginning with A. I don't know what it is. We obviously went with Alethea in the end, but I like names beginning with A or vowels in general. Amber I think is a beautiful name. We do have a really short surname. It only has 1 syllable, so I was looking for slightly longer names, and Amber is obviously 2 syllables. I was kind of looking 3 to 4 was a bit more, sounds better with our surname, but I still think it's a beautiful name. The next one is Emilia, and I really like this name, but my husband found it strange that we watch Siccone Jolie's regularly and they have a daughter called Emilia. My daughter kept calling our unborn baby Alessia when she was still inside my tummy. She was determined this baby was going to be Alessia because she knew it was a girl and they have a daughter called Alessia. But it was Emilia that I really liked. But yeah, my husband didn't want to go there. Number 27 is Louella. I really like this name. My husband was put off by the fact that there is a brand called this name. He doesn't like in general using sort of brand names as baby names. He always is against those for some reason. But I still think Luella is a beautiful name, and it had the right number of syllables. It sounds really well with our surname, so Luella is nice. My name is Linda if you don't follow my channel, so having another L in the family might have been quite nice, someone on my team, but no, that wasn't for my husband, so Luella it was not. The next one is Juliet, and I still really like that name, but again my husband just wasn't sure about the Romeo Juliet analogy, so he didn't want to go with that one either. The next one is Adelie, and I've heard quite a few people calling their names this, like, and shortening their name to Addie as a sort of nickname, but Adelie I think is a beautiful name. I think recently is it Jess Fam channel had a baby called Adelie. I think it's a beautiful name, but my husband wasn't sure about it, so we didn't go with that one either. The next one was Annalise, and this reminded my husband of Annalise from Neighbours, which Annalise must have been in Neighbours about 20 years ago or something when I used to watch Neighbours. Yeah, for some reason that put him off. There's something about names, if you know someone with that name, or you've heard of somebody with the name, or someone went to school with someone you didn't like, it's amazing how you still have that connotations with that person in your head with that name. So anyway, Annalise was not one for him. The next name on my list at number 31 was Audrina. I really like this name. I've heard this name a few times, but again my husband associates it with the hills, Audrina, and he just, yeah, didn't want to go with it for that reason. I don't imagine that everybody in the whole wide world would have associated that name with the hills, however. I think it's a beautiful name, and the small minority of people who watch the hills might have thought that, but yeah, Audrina is definitely a beautiful baby name for a girl. The next one is Juliana, and this was in our top 5. So this was my top so my husband whittled all of these 41 names down to 5, and this was one of them, Juliana. Again, anything kind of ending in A, Elena, Alethea, Linda, kind of goes well with our surname, so I thought that Juliana would be lovely, and that was one that my husband liked, but it wasn't our final choice. For 33 we have Lilia, spelled Lilia, Lilia. We have a Lily in our family, so that's the reason we didn't go with Lilia. It would be too similar, but I still think it's a really pretty name. It's very unusual. It's not one that I've actually heard anyone, I don't think, none of my friends or family or anyone at work have a daughter named Lilia. I've also heard of the name Liliana, which is also really nice. But yeah, that's why we didn't go with that name. We already have a Lily in our family. The next name on the list was one that my husband came up with, and it was the only one he really came up with, I think. And it was Bethany. My mum's name is Beth, and I think that's what sort of made him think that that would be a really good name for us. And I do really like the name, but for some reason I just couldn't associate it with being my child. I don't know why. Bethany, I don't know, I really like the name. I do know a couple of Bethanys as well. It would have been nice to call my daughter after my mum, but for some reason it just didn't click in my head as being my daughter's name. So for that reason, we didn't go with that one. And number 35 is Isabella, and I've always loved this name, but I think it is a more common name now. I always thought Isabella, shortened to Bella, was a really, really nice name, but it obviously has Twilight connotations, and I was a huge Twilight fan, so my husband thinks that's the reason I like that name, but it's not really. So yeah, we didn't go with that one, but Isabella I think is a beautiful name. The next name is Annabelle, and I still think that's a really, really pretty name. It's quite similar to Isabella. Annabelle, Isabella, Annabella. They're quite similar. But yeah, my husband wasn't sold on that name either, but I think it's really pretty. And number 37 is Jada. I really like this name, but at the same time it's one of these ones that I can't imagine calling my own daughter. I wrote it down because I like the name, but I didn't feel like it actually would, I don't know. Can't imagine calling a Jada out in the street or something for some reason. It didn't quite work for me, but I do really like the name. So we didn't go with that one. And number 38 is Serena, and probably any Gossip Girl fan out there would like that name. And it would completely give you Gossip Girl Serena van der Woodsen connotations, and that's partly why we didn't go for it. Also my husband makes him think of Serena Williams. I don't know why, but yeah, he wasn't keen on that one, so we didn't go with that one. And number 39 is Daniela, and I still really like this name. We had a Danielle in my class at school, and I remember thinking it was a really pretty name, but my husband wasn't sold on it, so we didn't go with Daniela. And finally at number 40 is Lydia, and I also really like this name. It's very, very similar to my name, Linda. Lydia and Linda, and I think my husband thought that might be quite nice, having that kind of named after me type thing, but yeah, I wasn't sure about naming either of my daughters in any way after me, because I think the other one, it would seem strange for the other one if they're not named after you or something. So yeah, that kind of put me off, but Lydia I still think is a really nice name, and it was definitely on a possibilities list for us. So that brings us to the end of this 20 other baby girl names that we love but won't be using. And the reason we won't be using them is we're not planning on extending our family any further, so not planning any more children, so not planning to have any chance to use these beautiful names. So hopefully this has inspired you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Give me a comment below if you've used any of these names, or if you've got any amazing names that you won't be using yourself. And don't forget to check out my other 20 baby girl names that I won't be using, which I will link here. I'll also link here my top 22 boys names that I love but won't be using. Boys names I find harder, so I have less of them, but I still have 22 to share, so that's a good number of boys names to give me some inspiration. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!